You ever had three strangers in cheap suits show up on your porch, pointing at your 8-year-old daughter and talking about juvenile property compliance? Yeah, that was my Thursday. They said they represented the Hillcrest Valley Homeowners Association. Only problem? We never had an HOA here. That's like someone telling a vegan they violated barbecue law. I knew right then something was off. Way off, like tuna left in the sun. I'm Mike Landon, ex-Navy, now cybersecurity consultant, accidental neighborhood enforcer. My wife passed 4 years back. All I ever wanted since was quiet, peace, and the simple joy of fridge art, not some scammer's paperwork trying to bulldoze my family life. My daughter, Ellie, she's tough as nails, curious like her mother, and every night we'd sit on our little porch, talking dinosaurs and dreaming up adventures, never once thinking we'd need to defend our house from crooks and neckties. Hillcrest Valley was always about freedom, no mailbox color codes, no lawn measuring, just neighbors being neighbors. But then one day, Mrs. Patterson, retired teacher, practically Ellie's adopted grandma, knocks, clutching a letter like it might bite. She got fined $3,000 for unauthorized yard ornamentation, which turned out to be the painted rocks Ellie gave her for Christmas. My head spun. The letter was fancy, but the logo was fake. The email, a random Gmail. The website registered out of Nevada just 2 weeks back. Rookie scam. So, I did what I do best, started digging. Soon, I realized it wasn't just us. 7 other families had gotten similar threats, fines for trampolines, koi ponds, even potted plants. It was like someone decided our block's joy was a crime. Now, I could have just told everyone to ignore it, shred the letters. But these jerks picked the wrong dad to mess with. My basement turned into a war room. Screens lighting up, my old military instincts kicking in. It didn't take long to trace the scam back to a shell company hiding behind fake names and recycled code. But then things turned ugly. A hand-delivered letter showed up. No stamp, just tucked under my doormat like a threat. This one didn't just mention some bogus violation. It said a juvenile compliance inspection might be required for Ellie. That wasn't paperwork, that was bait. When you threaten my kid, you're not just poking the bear, you're pouring ice water on him and then slapping his cub. So, I stopped being the nice neighbor. I got ready for war. The next morning, I'm sipping coffee, watching every car that passes, and then comes the first hit. A black SUV, windows tinted, engine purring as it rolls slow past our house, pausing just long enough for someone inside to snap a few photos. Ellie's at the table doing homework, blissfully unaware that someone's zooming in on her world. "Dad, why are those people taking pictures of our house?" she asked. I just told her not to worry, but inside, I was boiling. I ran the plate. Fake company, shell entity, all leading back to a network of addresses from Nevada to the Caymans. Then, just as I was piecing things together, Mrs. Patterson called in a panic. "Mike, they're at my door, asking about Ellie, demanding payment." I checked the security cam. 3 guys in suits, trying to play tough. The ringleader, Dawson, slicked back hair and fake smile, said they were concerned for my daughter's welfare, especially considering your background. That's when I knew they'd done their homework. This wasn't just a scam for cash. This was about leverage, maybe worse. I told them flat out, "There's no HOA here. You're trespassing. Next time, bring the cops." They didn't back down, just smirked and said they'd return, with authorities if needed. They thought I was just a tired widower with a laptop. What they didn't know was that I wrote the book on digital traps. That night, after Ellie went to bed, I locked down every system, cross-referenced their faces, dug into dark corners of the web. Found Dawson bragging online about intimidation jobs. Marcus, muscle with a record as long as his arms. Tyler, the jittery hacker type, too sloppy to cover his tracks. It was a whole operation. Twist came when I found a cloud server linked to Tyler. Inside were files on almost every family in Hillcrest. Income, schedules, photos, even leverage points. They had a folder marked Landon Family, high value. They had photos of Ellie at school, notes about my late wife, even sick little bullet points about emotional leverage. That's when it turned from scam to all-out assault on our lives. So, I built my case. One copy for law enforcement, another for the media, just in case. I set digital traps, let them think we were broke, staged a phone call about being out of town, left a forgotten school schedule open on a desktop I knew they were watching. And just in case, I called in backup. Two neighbors who knew their way around trouble. Jim, an ex-Marine, and Pete, a PI. We were ready. Thursday night came quiet, but my house was a fortress. Decoys, hidden cameras, even a mannequin in Ellie's bed. I made fake calls on the porch, loud enough for Tyler's gear to catch. When the black SUV rolled up at 2:07 a.m., I knew they'd swallowed the bait. They crept inside, Dawson with a flashlight, Marcus with a crowbar, Tyler whispering about routers. They rifled my office, drooled over fake bank statements. Then Dawson said, "Check upstairs for the girl." Fast and quiet. That's when theory ended and reality got sharp. I stepped out on the landing, voice steady as stone. "Biggest mistake you'll ever make is thinking you can touch my little girl." They froze. Marcus moved first, bad call. I dropped him fast, dislocated his elbow, and buckled his knee for good measure. Tyler tried to bolt. I swept him down the stairs and heard his knee snap like celery. Dawson actually pulled a gun, but he was shaking, safety on, way out of his league. I disarmed him and flattened his kneecap with my boot. 3 men, 30 seconds, over. We zip-tied them, dragged them into the living room. My team, Jim, Pete, and Felix, our neighborhood cop, came in, took one look, and started gathering evidence. I leaned in close to Dawson. "Say your boss's name, or I dump everything and the feds add trafficking to your list." He broke. "Griffith. Benedict Griffith. He paid us to drop values, scare you out." That's all I needed. I gave them a choice. Call 911 and get hauled out as child snatchers, or crawl themselves, on hands and knees, down Main Street to the precinct with my dossier. They chose the crawl. 6 blocks, bloody knees, neighbors filming, Mrs. Patterson in her bathrobe sipping coffee, saying, "Well, look who's finally useful." People jeered, cheered, or just watched in dead silence as 3 predators got what was coming. When they finally reached the station, Detective Rodriguez stepped out with my flash drive. "Congratulations, Mr. Landon. You just cracked open a regional crime ring." Turns out, that HOA scam had targeted single parents, retirees, veterans, people too tired to fight back. But not this time. Courts moved fast. Dawson got 15 years, Marcus 20 for weapons and parole, Tyler 7 plus a registry flag. Griffith, the puppet master, was yanked off a private plane with $5 million in crypto and sentenced to 25. But my favorite part? Those empty lots became a playground, a garden. Ellie's painted rocks are on display under a sign that says, "Ellie's Wonders." Our neighborhood is closer than ever. No HOA, just friends, cookouts, and one rule: no mailbox color codes, ever. You'd think that's the end, but here's the real twist. After the story went viral, people from all over called, wanting to learn how we fought back. Laws changed. Fake HOA registrations became illegal statewide. They even called it the Landon Act. I never asked for fame, but I'll take peace of mind. Ellie's older now, knows something happened, but not the ugly details. She gets to just be a kid. I still check the cameras, still lock the doors, but it's not fear, it's just being prepared. And that's what I want to leave you with. Evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it shows up in a tie, with paperwork, or a fake smile. But it crumbles the moment you stand together and push back. If you've ever been bullied by a clipboard, or felt someone trying to take what's yours, you know what I mean. So, what would you have done? Fight, fold, or make them crawl? Drop a comment. Share your story about community or justice, and let's see whose neighborhood stands the tallest. Because justice? Sometimes it walks tall, sometimes it crawls, and sometimes, just sometimes, it wears work boots and leaves a lesson in its wake.